Okay, so this is a showcase of a build made by, I'll find the name and link it. It's not my build, not even close. But this is just the um, first time I've been able to use it. I played it for maybe an hour or two after I got to level 67, which is the first level you can use the sword at. The build doesn't work before then because it relies on this sword or a sacrifice, which is the whole point. I found a ton of these swords over the last couple of years, and I've never made a build that actually worked with it. And this was the first one that looked interesting and looked like it might work. And the key moment of this sword, the key thing on this is the gain of frenzy charge if it attack ignites an enemy, all the way at the bottom there. So it's a system for getting frenzy charges that doesn't require you to get kills. So it'll work in multiplayer, and it's sustainable against bosses. Two very important things for me, because I don't really play a ton. So I just kind of want to. I don't want to have a whole bunch of different characters. And the cool thing about it is as soon as I got this thing, it's nice and cheap to build. It works perfectly right off the bat. So the 4 link here is just some random stuff. This 5 link is the important one. Starts with Flicker Strike, Multi Strike. There it is. Melee Splash, Blood Magic, so I can reserve all my mana, and Weapon Ellie. They're 20% qualities because this is the Shrine event, and I managed to get a couple. I managed to do a couple. I think Melee Splash is the next. If you get crit multi into a Shrine, 20 quality is something you're wearing, so you get yourself naked except for the one thing you want to have 20 quality, and I've got a couple of those so far. These rings are important as well because they have the 10% chance to ignite on them. 10% is max roll, 25% fire damage is also max roll. These were super cheap. I think I got a good deal on them, but I mean, this one was a fusing and this one was a chaos, and they're both 10%, and this one was 25% fire damage, which is max. Probably should have been more than a fusing, but I don't think the guy knew. It still would have only been a chaos or two at the most. I just happened to get a good deal because I got up early. The sword itself was a pretty high damage, elemental damage roll, which is the attack speed and the elemental damage are the only two things that change. Those two are the ones that. This is a pretty good roll. It wasn't linked at all when I got it, and I think I paid maybe a chaos for it. 2 chaos at the most. I mean, and the 5 link chest piece, it was a 5 link white, and I alked it, scoured it and alked it, and then kept it because I got a couple resistances on it. So it's obviously nothing amazing. So this is maybe 5, 6 chaos at this point, and all the rest of the rares are just normal rares that I found. I got lucky on that one. It's not bad. I don't really need the movement speed, as you'll see. I just put it on there because it had everything else. But the rest of these are, I mean, they're actually pretty good. I got a couple lucky rolls. Shit belt, shit amulet. I mean, nothing on that thing. I need a new amulet. Yeah, I do. I don't even need the stats anymore. So I'm gonna run a normal map. I've run a couple maps at 67. I'll just show you this. I'm just gonna run a. I'm not trying to game the system. I'm just gonna run the first map. No, just show you what it does. Basically, you can see I got my little golem. I think I'm gonna put him on cast on damage taken later on. But the whole idea is that once you get going, you don't really have to stop. And there is a chance that you're going to die because it's randomness. You can't really tell what's going on. It works a little bit better if you hold it down for a couple seconds and then let it go. You do tend to ignite everything around you because of the melee splash. And it's good to go back and finish off packs. Keep an eye on your map so you don't go all over the place. Little rooms like that are great because you clear everything right away. I hope I run into an exile or something because those are the most fun. The bosses and the exiles. When you don't have a whole lot of other stuff around you, I'll come back for the shrine later. You can just flicker and flicker and flicker on the same thing, and their health just drops. It's great. So this is basically right off the bat. I played it for a few hours after I got it going just to see how it would work. I found a couple pieces of new gear, but I'm level 70. I'm not super high level. My gear is not super optimal. I'd like to get a couple other pieces of sword. You can see even those ones, not a big deal. You just keep going until it gets the right ones down. Most of the stuff is on fire. It's a good idea to have at least one instant flask. I think I'm going to turn this one to instant as well. And then so big DOT, sorry, heal over time, and 2 instants, and then my granite flask, which is, honestly, granite flask is not that useful because of my passive tree. You can see I have acrobatics, which means that my armor is not fantastic. But the evasion flask is just so terrible because you only get 1 charge. I can't bring myself to use it. Little monkeys. Here we go. There's a rare in there. And I'm talking too much. I should be focusing. But you can see it does plenty of damage. That was another rare there. Once I have 3 frenzy charges, usually you don't lose them. Usually it starts to go up. You can watch it fluctuate. I should have 6 max, and usually it hovers around 6. Oh, and that can kill you. That's one thing. I've only got about 3,200 health right now. A little bit more health is really all I need. I'll pick up some more elemental damage, some more melee damage. Melee fizz, of course, doesn't help you at all because it's because of the sword I'm using. You definitely want to just get as much fire damage, elemental damage. But I was saying about the flasks, one thing that you have a problem with is that it's really hard to tell. So this is not going to go anywhere. I need to get these guys out of the way. There we go. Ooh, nice. One thing that can happen is you'll get into tough spots and you'll just start taking crazy damage really fast. And so instant flasks are really helpful because you will end up dying every once in a while. This is not a hardcore recommended build. And it's not my build. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description to the guy who invented the build. He did it during the beta for the Path of Exile Awakening, and it hasn't changed a whole lot since then. But it's super cheap, and it's pretty fun, and it's the best flicker strike I've seen so far. I've tried doing dagger flicker strikes, and this will be a good test. So I got to kill Vagan. There you go. No problem. 1 person to hit. You just keep hitting them, and you ignite them, and you come out. You can just hold down the right click. Just watch your flasks is all. As your life starts to dip down, you piano your flasks, and your health goes back up, and there you go. Now, you can't do this as crit because the sword only has a 5% crit chance on it. You really can't build it as crit build. You won't get enough crit chance on there to fill your flasks ever, to get enough charges. It's just not going to happen. So, alright, well, I'm going to go kill the boss because we don't need to full clear this map because it's a demonstration here. Damn it, that's not what I wanted. Go away. I'm back. I'm down out of flasks, out of frenzy charges again. I could get the flask that that gives you frenzy charges, or that gives you charges at the cost of life. Wouldn't be a bad idea. A little bit of lag there, but there we go. He's the only one left. Boom, 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 boom. Dead. So this is a 69 level zone. I'm level 70. Let me show you the passive tree real quick, and I'll show you what's going on. You start as a Scion because the most important thing for this build is you want to get a couple frenzy charges, and you want to get as much ignite chance as possible. Not as possible. So I've got this 5%, I've got this 5%, I've got this 5%. You get 20 from the sword, which is huge. That doesn't change though. Any of these swords will do it. And then I get 10 from each of my rings. So 10, 10, 40, plus 5 3 times from the tree is 55. That's more than enough. I don't know if it's more than enough. It works. I don't think you need much more. There is this 5% here. There's 10% up here as well. I think I'd rather go for the fire damage when I'm up there, honestly. I ignite plenty. I mean, it sustains it on bosses, which are probably harder to ignite. I don't actually know. I don't have a problem generating frenzy charges most of the time. Once I've got 2 or 3 frenzy charges, that's enough, and I can just keep moving. You don't run out of frenzy charges almost ever when you're flicker striking around. The only time you do it is when you first start off. If you get unlucky and you use your first run and you don't ignite anything, and then you've got to wait a sec for your flicker strike to go on cooldown. I'm using Herald of Ice, Herald of Thunder linked with flammability. Curse on hit, flammability. They don't go off as often as I'd like, but honestly it's really hard to tell because it's a little chaotic, as you might have noticed. Okay, sorry, my recording cut out for a sec. Passive tree is really straightforward. You basically want to get all the cheap jewel sockets. You want to get as much ignite chance as you need. you want to get as much fire damage as you want, um, balanced with as much life as you can. So there's some good life nodes in here. There's something in there. That one's pretty good because of the all resist and 1% max it adds. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't get this one because it's 3 points. That's a 4. That's a 6. These are all 5s, so it's kind of a wasted node right there. A little bit of life, but whatever. I'm probably going to grab this once I get a little bit more evasion to make it worthwhile. But basically, it's just life, fire damage, elemental damage, melee damage. Those are all options. And you can get a little bit more fire damage here. You can go all the way in and get dual cursing, which is not a bad idea. You can get this fire damage. You get this ignite chance, but it's not really necessary. Go in here. AoE damage doesn't really help you since it's a physical skill. Or sorry, it's a single target skill that we put melee splash on. So the jewels are super strong. Fire damage and other things would be better. These are super simple jewels. I just got ones that had one good stat. That's the best I've got. But you can get these 4 jewels for 1 point each as a scion. You get a bunch of attack speed, some life regen. I can fill out that tree. There's a lot more I can do here. There's nothing special about this. I should really focus more on evasion, but I've got some armor and some... I've got, yeah, like those. I happen to find them. Like I said, you get what you find. So, nothing special. There's a lot of room for improvement. I'm going to get a Doriani's belt eventually. I need to find some more elemental damage. Fire damage on attacks is nice here. You can see that this adds, let's see, 4284, 4216. Not a ton of damage. I probably wouldn't even notice it. But if I can get like elemental damage on my belt, that'd be cool until I get a Doriani's. There's probably some uniques out there that'll help a lot more as well. But super cheap build, super fun, and it will work in multiplayer because you're just igniting shit. You don't have to actually get the kills, so you'll just be flickering around while everyone else does their thing. Probably be a lot safer in multiplayer too because there's more of the targets to hit. So, thanks guys. Have a good one.